How's it going, everyone? This is K Collections. My catalyst for the upcoming Shuten Banner is ready. This is an unboxing video of Max Factory 1/7 scale Assassin Shuten Douji. So this is the front of the box. Beautiful design. I really like the flower effects all around. Here's the side with promotional images, more promotional images on the back side. And that's a nice shot right there. Feel free to pause the video. Here's the top, and here is the bottom. Alright, let's get this opened up. Alright, so here's the Figure Stones package, but before that, I wanted to show you the interior of the box, a nice golden coloring right there. So I wanted to get the Shuten figure from Quest, but that thing's approaching like $250 and that's not within my budget. This figure from Max Factory is a nice alternative. I bought this for around $120, so definitely a lot more affordable than the $250 one. So starting with her base, it's just a plain, boring, translucent gray. Essentially there is no pegs for this figure. All you have to do is just place it there and put the figure on top. So there is an option not to use the base because again, it's just kind of boring, but I'll probably just leave it. Next is her gourd, and this is a nice accessory, essentially. It's translucent a bit. I don't know if you guys could tell. Maybe not. Yeah, kind of. Kind of translucent. It has a nice shine to it as well. The sculpt work is pretty good. I mean, it's essentially just a bottle. I really do like the golden metallic paintwork on parts of the bottle. And lastly, here is a tiny little mask. Essentially, that's her knee guard. I'll just show you right here. It's the same sculpt, or essentially it's the same, I think. Actually, this one's a bit bigger. You can kind of see the size difference, but for this, the sculpt work is very well done. I do like the metallic gray painting. Essentially, when I first saw this, I was a bit scared about the red bleeding onto the gray or vice versa, but no, there's no painting issue whatsoever. And here is the back. So the figure itself is really nice, especially that ass shot right there. But sculpt work, paint work, everything is amazing, to be honest. So the first thing that really stood out to me was the sculpted hairlines. This is one of the best I've seen on a figure, like holy crap. It looks amazing. All these individually sculpted hairs. That's just beautiful. And the painting for the hair as well, it's phenomenal. I love the shading up top, a darker tone, and then towards the middle, it's a lighter tone of coloring, and towards the bottom, it's dark again. So I love the shading for that. What else to talk about? The horns has this nice gloss to it, so I really appreciate that. Now there is an issue with the headpiece. So the headpiece is a metallic gold. I don't know if you guys could tell on camera, but essentially the gem, the green painting, kind of bled onto the gold, so that kind of sucks there. But the gem itself is a translucent coloring. Now the sake, or the liquid on the bowl, it's up close. I'll be honest, it looks like a lump of plastic just placed on top of the bowl. But far distance, it looks okay. It's not a huge issue. It's not like you're gonna stare at that all day. Next, let's talk about the clothing, or lack of clothing, or you guys know what I meant. It is an FGO if there's no fan service, right? But the sculpt work is really nicely done. I gotta give credit to Max Factory. So the design towards the end of the clothing, or end of the sleeve, these are all sculpted. It's not just painted, so gotta give him credit for that. That's awesome. Also the folds, the wrinkles, they look great, especially towards the back. So a huge plus on that. One thing I forgot to mention about the head is there's a very noticeable seam line, so that kind of sucks. But again, that's a universal issue amongst anime figures, so it's not just Max Factory's fault. Only the best of the best can hide it. But again, go back to the clothing. I do wish there were a bit more shading on the clothing itself. There is some, don't get me wrong, like towards the sleeve or hair or towards the bottom, but I kind of wish there were a noticeable difference, because at a far distance it doesn't look like there's too many shading on it, but up close you could kind of tell. So I wish the tone was a bit more noticeable. So for knee armor, it looks really good. Again, these are all sculpted. This mask piece right here, essentially, like I mentioned earlier, it's the same thing in terms of sculpt work and painting, but this is just a bit bigger. Now, I really appreciate the shading on the ribbons on her feet right there. I don't know, it's just, is it me or is her leg kind of really tiny? Whatever it is. One thing I noticed though, this is kind of funny, but her neck is a bit long. Or is it just me? I don't know if you guys can tell on camera, but her neck is a bit on the longer side, so that's kind of awkward, but I mean, essentially she has a tilted head, so it kind of hides it. Alright, so here's the figure with everything put together. Now, my biggest complaint is that she can't really hold her gourd that well, as you can see. There's really nothing holding it in place. So one small touch and she'll essentially drop it. I mean, you could place it up like that. That's not a problem, but essentially that's my biggest complaint. You just kind of, you have to mess with it a bit. So here's a size comparison with a 1/8 scale figure. This is Okita from ALTAiR. They look pretty good next to each other. This is 1/7, and she's more in line to in between 1/7, 1/8, and I'll show you in a minute because definitely these two look okay next to each other. Not a big problem. This is a comparison with a 1/7 scale, and this is Mash from Stronger. Of course, Shuten is kneeling, and from what I recall, I never summoned her, so I don't have the specific details. I could probably wiki or Google it, but Shuten has always had a small figure or like a small size to her. So next to each other, they look okay. Typically how I compare scales to see if they're more or less in line to each other is that I compare the size of the head. Right, because there will be a noticeable difference between a 1/8 and a 1/7. Let me show you real quick. Move Shuten towards the back. So how I typically compare is the size of the head. Mash's head for 1/7 is a lot bigger than a 1/8. Hopefully you guys can tell on camera, but in person it's a huge difference. For Shuten, her head size is pretty much a 1/7 scale. I guess it's just her structure, her body type is a bit on the smaller side. That's why she fits well next to a 1/8 figure. Nonetheless, they look great next to each other. My final thoughts on this figure, aside from this one issue, which I'll show you right now. Right? Aside from that, this figure is amazing. Max Factory has made decent level figures or decent quality figures in the past, but recently they've been doing a phenomenal job. I highly recommend this, although I would suggest looking at the Shuten Quest figure. I kind of like that a lot more because she has her sword out, she's standing up, and Quest has made amazing figure. I own the Shisho figure from them, and that one was great. So I say research that a bit more if you're balling with money, because again, it's $250. I mean, not that this figure is cheap or anything. It's about $150, $170. That's the general range I've been seeing. But if you want to, hand over a $250, that's essentially a console right there. How much is the Switch going for? Around there, right? I bought my PS4 for about $200. So if you don't want to spend $250 on a piece of plastic, essentially, then I mean, and if you're a huge Shuten fan, then I say pick this up. It's totally worth it. Special thanks to all my patrons for supporting me. If you want to support my channel, check out my Patreon. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Fate content. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join my Discord server. All links are in the description. Have an awesome day, everyone. Till next time.